Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with Wyoming gun owners. If you're a gun owner in House District 41, this is kind of north central Cheyenne. It's around the airport, it's the edge of the Air Force Base, that portion of Cheyenne. Take a moment to watch this brief video as we compare Republican candidate Gary Brown versus his Democratic opponent Jen Solis in this House district. Guys, the election's coming up very fast, and Kamala Harris's hatred of your gun rights is so intense. Her hatred of the Second Amendment is so obvious, it's spilling over into down-ballot races all across the country, including, as you're about to find out, right here in Wyoming. It's critical that as gun owners, we send a message on November 5 that Wyoming rejects gun control and we stand for freedom in the Second Amendment. In this video, I can't tell you who to vote for. What we can do, though, is give you guys the information you have to make your own most informed decision. In this case, with no incumbent in this race, we're going to begin with Republican nominee Gary Brown. Not a lot of information to give you on Gary of a very detailed nature. What we can tell you is that if you spend any time on his social media platforms, you'll find out that Gary Brown is very loudly pro-Second Amendment. He supports gun rights. He doesn't hide that from anybody. And he's a very well-known activist who testifies on various issues in the state capitol, pretty involved in the process. And again, he makes his support for the Second Amendment pretty public on social media. Be sure and check him out. Unfortunately, we have a lot more information on Jen Solis, and none of it, as you're about to find out, is good. Like I said, with Kamala Harris's overt hatred for gun owners, Democrats here in Wyoming are taking public positions on gun control that, frankly, they've never dared take before. We've always known that Democrats want to destroy the Second Amendment. They just never dared say it publicly. But that's changing now. The Wyoming Democratic Party platform has now spelled out a detailed list of gun control items that they are in support of that they've never published in the past. And that means that as the Democrat nominee, Jen Solis is backing the Harris and the Democrat Party platform gun control wish list in Wyoming. What does that entail? It's 4 or 5 things. Number one, these people are hell-bent on a gun registry here in Wyoming. They're desperate to get us into a database because the left ultimately wants to confiscate firearms. They're not even hiding that anymore. And they can't confiscate what they can't find. So whether it's the universal background checks or a permitting system, they want you and they want me in a database. If they ever got that database, it goes right up to the feds, and we all know how terrible that would be for this country and for Wyoming. That cannot be allowed to happen. But again, Jen Solis supports that. Number two, these people hate the AR-15. The AR-15, above all other firearms, represents freedom, and it represents a stand against an all-powerful, tyrannical government. Do we have that in this country yet? No, we don't. The AR-15 helps ensure that never happens. It's a great rifle. Everybody who has one knows what I'm talking about. If you don't, go out and buy one. It's lightweight, easy to shoot, holds lots of ammo, easily customizable. It's good for big people, small people, young people, old people, women, men, whatever. The left always has hated these because it represents freedom. They want them banned. And Jen Solis actually supports that in Wyoming. Horrible stuff. Number three, Jen Solis supports deadly gun-free zones. They want more gun-free zones. Now, as you probably know, Wygo is fighting like hell to get rid of gun-free zones here in Wyoming. We passed the bill last session, House Bill 125. And then, of course, Governor Gordon vetoed the bill as a favor to the gun control lobby here in Cheyenne. And the absurdity of this is hard to comprehend. We have a country that is plagued by violence. It's not caused by gun owners. It's caused by violent criminals, especially in our cities. Just Google Denver. You'll see it for yourself. We all know about this. And the prosecutors don't put them in prison. There is no ultimate justice. They run wild, ignoring all the gun control laws in these blue states. And despite that, they want to put more areas where you and I cannot defend our families, more areas that are off limits to you and I. And besides the regular crime problem, we now have 10 million plus illegal aliens, foreign nationals, who've poured into our country under Joe Biden's open border policy. We have no idea who these people are. What we do know is that hundreds of thousands of them have been convicted, many of them of violent crimes. They're walking freely in society. It's called the non-detained docket. Check it out sometime. And so with these people running around the country, we still are being told by Jen Solis we should have more areas where we can't carry. It's absurd. What's next on her list? Magazine limits. These people want to make it a crime for you and I to have a magazine in our rifles or in our handguns that holds more than 10 rounds of ammunition. Again, the absurdity is hard to overstate. We have a crime problem nationwide. We have a growing problem with foreign nationals who do not respect our laws, and they want to literally make it a crime for us to have a standard 15-round magazine in our handguns or a 30-round magazine in our rifles. It's absolutely crazy, but that's the agenda of Jen Solis. And while it's not listed on their platform this cycle, the Democrats are always hell-bent on repealing Stand Your Ground law at the state level, including right here in Wyoming. We passed Stand Your Ground law in 2018. It's an excellent law because it says you don't have to retreat before using justifiable force to stop a violent predator. The idea that you ever had to is just absolutely baffling. But they want to go back to those days where even if you use justifiable force, if you're in a bluish county here in Wyoming, you can be charged with a crime for not retreating an arbitrary number of steps first. Guys, besides being laughable, besides being out to lunch, the impact, the real life impact of this agenda would make Wyoming a very dangerous place. And we know that because every state that's adopted this has become a very dangerous place. Again, check out Colorado, check out anywhere in the West Coast, Washington State, Oregon, all these states, California plunged into violence, and they have all of this and more already on the books. Guys, that's our recap in this race. Again, get out there November 5. Take all your friends, all your family, all your coworkers, get out there and vote on November 5 and send a message that here in Wyoming, we stand for freedom and the Second Amendment.